Good afternoon. I'm sorry I'm so late in getting this to you. I wanted to make sure to go over the packet. Good. It's a little different looking packet this time. If you haven't taken a look at it yet, here is the new packet. They seem to be taking each week and seeing what parents and teachers are talking about and saying, oh, we need a little bit more of this, or um, the packet's a little thicker this time. It gives you a page at the beginning where you can kind of basically write down what you're going to be doing that week and materials you're going to need. If any questions come up for me, that you can write down here and ask me at some point. It gives you the date to put all this in. Uh, I noticed that it has a few more pages to it, not pages, I'm sorry. Um, like this, the math tic-tac-toe, before it just usually just showed you a little tiny picture of it or something, but they're giving you a lot more information, it seems like, this time in the packet. So they still, though, did do the overview of the packet, which I will add. You already have the link to this. I gave you the link last week to um, packets, both in English and Spanish. So you'll just have to look at last week and look for these links. Um, but I will add the link to the outline so you can have the outline. I will also take pictures in case you can't download or whatever. Um, I'll take a picture of this. And I'm going to go over Monday. Today is Monday, May 11th. So I'll let you know what you'll be doing for the week on some of these, but I'm going to try to mostly stick to what you need to do today. So the ESL starter, think about the word determination. What do you want to finish today? How are you determined to finish it? I'm determined to finish this and get this to you. And there's a PowerPoint that I will add a link to. You're going to have lots of links today to different things on here. Reading is the same, 30 minutes, read 30 minutes, and vocabulary is the same. When you're reading, find a word that you're not sure what it means, add it to your dictionary. Writing. The writing is going to be a 2 week, almost three. I think it's going to go through the whole 3 weeks, actually. Um, it's a fun one, though. I've seen this on Facebook, and I'm going to try to find maybe a video for you to get an idea. The article that comes along with this um, has some pictures in it that gives you an idea, but you're going to be reading an article. So just today, for today, you're going to read the article on recreating artwork. So it gives you the where you can download it here. I'm also going to give you the link. And here is the article that you'll be looking at. And it's amid coronavirus, museums ask people to remake artworks with household items. So what people are doing is they're finding a piece of art, a picture, a portrait, sculpture, different things, and they're trying to recreate the picture. So here is the actual art piece, and then here is the person trying to recreate it. Look how close. That looks really good. Here's another picture. Here's a sculpture, and this person's trying to recreate that same sculpture. She did a great job. Here is another piece of art, and somebody took it. Looks like um, maybe colored noodles and beans and stuff, and they tried to recreate this picture here. Okay, here's another picture, and they tried to recreate it here. So they look pretty close, and some of the ones I've seen have been amazing. Like I said, I'll try to find a story on it, or so you can see what people are doing. Okay, and there's a quiz at the end, but we're not worried about that right now. The only thing that you're being asked to do today is just read that article. okay? The article I just showed you for writing. For math, it's going to be basically the same thing that you've been doing in math. So that in the packet, it showed you the fourth square. It's the same as what you've had before. So you're going to connect 5 in horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. Okay, and you're going to be looking for mental math, problems of the week, independent work, let's move. Looks like that's it. The games. And the games for this time are salute, 4 in a row, and connect the numbers. I'm going to add the links to those to show you how to play those games. So just in case you don't remember how to play them, and just refresh your memory on that. Here's also this paper that I'll take pictures of all the papers that I'm showing you today. And this one I've showed you before, and you may have printed it out. So it's just an easy way for you to figure out what math you're doing. You can mark off on here on each square if you're trying to do it diagonally, if you're trying to do it horizontally, or if you're trying to do it vertically. You can make a mark and keep a little easier to keep track that way. And day 1, which is today, May 11th, you pick your activity, show your work below. Were you successful? If you were, why? If you weren't, what was difficult about that this activity, and how did you persevere? And then it has one for each. There's day 2, day 3, all the way to day 5. Okay, so this is just kind of a helper to keep it more organized and when you're doing your math. Speaking of math, I'll go over that with you also. So here's the math. Like I said, the games are salute, 4 in a row, and cover that number. So you're going to be measuring, and 3rd grade is going to measure to the nearest ½ inch. So remember those fractions that we were doing at the just before we left, a couple of weeks before we left for spring break. And you're going to measure the length of the fingers and the thumb in inches on your left hand. Okay. If you don't have a measuring tape or something at home, you can search ruler or something, and I think that you can download some pictures of a ruler and use that. There's different things on the internet that you can use, that you can find. So you're going to make the line plot. Remember the line plots? We did this all the way back to the beginning of school when we had the plants, and we were doing the line plot in our science journal. And so you're going to take all the measurements. What I would do is I would gather all my data first. So I'd write down all the measurements of all my fingers and my thumb, and then I would ask family members. It says here teachers and classmates, but can't do that unless you're Zooming with your classmates, or if you want to ask me to my measurements, I can measure my fingers out for you and let you know my measurements. Just dojo me and say, Miss Ugaldi, can I get your measurements? If you'd like that. Okay. So you gather all that up after you get all your data, then you're going to make your line plot. Remember, line plots, you don't start at 0. You start at your smallest. Start line plot at the shortest length. No need to start at 0. So if your first measurement is 1.5 inches, that's where you start your line plot, 1.5 inches, and then you go to the next higher measurement, okay, all the way till you get to the highest measurement. And then you're going to make a dot over each one. So you're going to have 5 dots for unless you might have them this way, or maybe you're ring finger and your pointer both measure the same, then you're going to have 2 dots over. So each measurement that you have, you're going to put a dot over that line. So the packet gives you that little example there. Now you're going to use your line plot to answer the following questions. How does your line plot change when more data is added? So put your information and then watch your data as you're adding everybody else's information and see what happens to your data, okay? What is the difference in length between the longest and shortest finger? So you're going to have to be subtracting the longest number, the shortest number from the longest number to see the difference, okay? Remember those words, difference. And then you're going to write your own question about the data for someone to solve. So like this question was asked, what is the difference in length between the longest and shortest finger? Maybe one of your questions can be, which measurement, which finger had the same measurement? Everybody had the same measurement or something like that. So you can come up with your own question to ask somebody, right? And that is the measure it activity. So that would be one of the squares on here would be, this one says graph it. So actually this should say, this should have been, they didn't update it really, because that should probably say measure it. And then you have the problem of the week, which is on your square also. And you have the 2 problem. So Theo wants to cover the top of a small table with square tiles. So you have question 1 and question 2 for 3rd grade that you answer. Independent practice. Draw a number line. We've done this too. We were doing that with fractions at the end. Remember, draw a number line. Mine's not too straight, but draw a number line. Divide the number line into equal length for each given fraction. So I did the first one for you. The first one is 3/4. See that? 3/4. So I take that bottom, the denominator, remember, down denominator. So I took the denominator and there's 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it's 3/4. So 1, 2, 3. There's the 3/4. And that's all you need to do for this one, okay? And just answer 2, 3, 4, and 5 on that. Mental math, figure these out, okay, mentally. So all these are on your game board. Remember, it should be measure it instead of graph it. And that's it for the math. Let's see what's next here. Science. Science, we're talking about natural resources that help in many ways to meet our needs for food, shelter, clothing, and entertainment. So make a prediction. For today, all you're doing is make a prediction. What resource you think is used the most in your home and why? So here's a PowerPoint you can use for the week, and I will add that to the links that I'll be sending you. Okay. Music. Oh, don't forget on math, all you have to do is pick one of the squares that you're doing. So you don't have to do all that math today. It's just picking one square. For music, make your hypothesis. So you're going to be doing experiments for music. Music is a little bit different this time. So here is these that's in this packet is for the rest of the 3 weeks. So here's your activity. So week 7 says complete experiment number 1 and choose one additional activity. So here's experiment number 1, music experiment 1. And then after you finish this experiment, then you're going to pick one of these activities to do. Not all today. All you're doing today is make your hypothesis. What is a hypothesis? That's a fancy word for guess. Predict. Will different water levels in glasses produce different pitches? Yes or no? Why did you answer yes or no? Okay. So this is all you're going to be doing today. This is your hypothesis. What you think is going to, if it's going to produce different pitches, yes or no, and why did you pick that? Okay, make your hypothesis. That's all you have to do for Monday. All right, and that's music experiment 1. Right, and our last page, oh, social studies. Social studies, you're going to create a world. So imagine that you get to build a brand new world. No one has ever seen this new world. So you get to design it however you want. So you're going to draw a map of this new world. You're going to label, you're going to add a variety of land formations such as mountains, deserts, plains, and jungles. You're going to draw labels. Here's a PowerPoint you can use for the week. So today you're going to be creating your world. You're going to draw your map of this new world. You're going to add all those things, rivers, everything. And here's a PowerPoint that's going to help you that I'll add too. Okay, that's what you're doing for today. Right. So that was everything for Monday, May 11th. Okay. And I will get this to you as soon as possible so you can get started. Maybe you have already started, and that's great, wonderful. But if you're still weren't unsure, and I'm sorry I took so long in getting this, I wanted to make sure there was so much involved this time that I wanted to make sure that I looked it over and I didn't confuse you any more than I usually do. If you have any questions or concerns, please dojo me right away and I'll try to get to them as fast as I can. And I hope you have a wonderful day and I will see you tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday with the rest of the packet and hopefully help you through it. Right? Bye.